So I had a product in mind a long time ago. It would have been a real game changer. Would have been a benefit for any industry or trade where you're close to traffic. It would be for first responders, lawn service, even by extension, people that maybe would go to an event where they've had problems lately with vehicular as a weapon. But it would be involving a biohack, and it would be involving technology that's already there now, but not when I first thought of the product. Now, why didn't I bring it to forefront? Well, the thing is, on some products, you have to have a strong basis because there's going to be blame and litigation and things like that. So, and then you have to have the resources to prove that your product didn't fail, that person didn't die because of your product, and that net it's far more life-saving than detrimental, even with failures that are attributable to human error. So what was it? Real quick, just an advanced biohack where you have a wearable, a vest, whatever, that triggers maybe audible coupled with a vibration stimulation that's unavoidable, that your DNA is structured to respond to. Just like they have in cars now with lane departure and everything else. So if you're working at the road edge, or if you're a first responder and on comes a vehicle, then you would get a heads up. So, and that's way better to have it on technology, because just like the Potomac airplane crash, at some point, if that is determined to a human error fault, then somebody has to live with the consequence of their negligence. And originally when I thought of this, it was the dump truck drivers or the garbage collection. So I thought, well, shoot, the guy in front has perfect perspective to give forewarning to the guys behind. But then as I thought about it, what if that guy's having a bad day? What if he's diverted and something happens? And then I thought, well, maybe it should be automated with a bell or light or signal at the back of the truck, so it takes him out of the guilt paradigm that he might experience if he failed to act on something he should have been observable, coming. So, but then I thought, well, sometimes their attention's diverted, or the vehicle's loud, and whatever, there could be failure, and that's where I thought the biohack, the wearable's better, I think, in all regards, and it's not that hard to develop with today's technology. So why didn't I have the foundational basis to bring forth such a hugely beneficial product? Well, one, I tried the platform of YouTube, where it seems as if more people look for videos on how to have personal gain. But my mindset in trying to reach a goal like that wasn't ill prescribed. I mean, I knew what I needed to do. I needed to have widgets. The problem is I couldn't gain enough traction. So a lot of you guys that are doing video, you'll understand that if you got a tripod, you put if you're using phone, a lot of people are using the others, but this still has a 1/4-20 socket. So you use a tripod, you got to depend that you're either got solid surface close enough or whatever. If one leg, hey Jim, I'll catch you later. All right. If one leg falls into a divot or whatever, and then the more times you flex them, the more probability that they're going to fail, on and on and on. So if you got a way of using mass, as rudimentary as that is, so this mass would be more than the mass of the device, then off you go. You've already got a good start. Now, if you can make that mass also contourable to any surface that it's on to make up for that, and hold steady, or in at least as much as possible in one place, then yeah, you got something there too. And then you just clicked it in there, you set it, and whatever. Granted, this is rudimentary, but back in the day, well, I pitched it, no traction. Not surprised, because nobody watches my videos, because they're more about how to save trillions of lives by not queering our atmosphere, queering our weather patterns, queering the fertility in our soil, queering the organic nutrition in our food crops. So with all of that, I lost audience. I understand that. But you can't fake it and act like you're interested in telling people how to make big money in lawn service if your true engagement in lawn service doesn't make big money. In fact, you lose customers, right? And you wouldn't want to go that way because you know the health consequences of that type of operation where you have such a low cutting that there's dry particulate that gets up in the air and you get COPD from the intake of that through your respiratory system, or you get the neuroreactive toxic gas that's a reaction of the plant in response to the low cutting, or you get the generalized depletion of fertility that causes you to have the plants that express more allergens, 40 times more allergens, and on and on. So that triggers the respiratory kneecapping, and then you go out in the community and you get a viral contact and you're off to the races. And I have a person at home that's got, immunocompromised. I can't be doing stuff like that. And I don't remember who said it, but they said, society can be judged by how it treats its most vulnerable. And our most vulnerable is somewhat the smallest, and that's the soil microbes. If we concentrated on the fertility of the soil instead of exhausting it for a simple $40, $50, $60 cut, and with that $50 gain, you've subtracted thousands of dollars worth of nutritional benefit from that area because you've wasted centuries-old living soils that can't be replaced unless there's an exhaustive restorative effort by a guy like me that comes along. And then we get fired because it takes too long for the people to see the benefit of a climatically stabilized lawn expression of natural selection that's most resilient for my area, that also protects the soil with the microcanopy structure that never moves from that soil because it's closest to what it needs to protect. In the soil, it yields cellulose generation that falls down and is a food for the soil microbes that create fertility that feed the plant. And also having the perspective that you let dormancy happen, where you have not green landscapes because that would indicate cooling in the winter, but instead tanned landscapes, but with a tall enough canopy, not coming back and going lower, because if it hasn't grown on the shoot, it hasn't mended the root because there's no growth there either. But also you're putting cellulose down where there's no activity of the soil microbes, so that lays in there and thatches in and causes a precipitation problem. It causes an oxygen problem. It causes all kinds of problems because you're doing the wrong thing, or maybe the right thing, but at the wrong time. The trick of how to handle Florida's sandy soil in its equatorial proximity is a learning. It's the education center for the rest of the world. The other folks are in other areas may have no immediate consequence because they have a deeper nutrient layer. So they never have to focus on how to build nutrition in the soil or restore it. But it doesn't change the fact that you cannot build canopy fast enough to adapt to the seasonal path route structure of the sun. So you'll have that solar intensity before you can regain canopy, and then you'll have an additional dormancy after seasonal that usually is structured as that early season drought, because not only do you affect the soil, but by affecting the soil and the plants upon it, you also end up affecting the weather. But it's too deep, and the problem is there's nobody that cares beyond self. So with that, I don't know what I'm complaining about because there's nothing to be gained. But just saying, a lot less people would have had to die if it was meritorious as far as the outreach on these platforms, if it was based upon real benefit, real science, and instead of personal gain as a value. You all got to figure out where you place value. Is for lawn service, are you valuing a lawn guy that's there every time, regardless if it needs cut, but you don't understand the damage that's being done? Or so are you a servitude person, or are you a service person? Because the service guy is out here trying to structure words that convey an understanding of the actuality of the circumstance. All right, bye.